Experiencing financial strain due to housing expenses is a challenging aspect of personal finance that many people unfortunately face at some point in their lives. With the aim of reducing the number of future homeowners who might find themselves in this predicament, I've decided to create a brief video discussing how much we should ideally be allocating towards housing costs. Like many significant financial decisions, various suggestions exist in response to the question, how much house can I afford? Today we will scrutinize the three main guidelines, evaluate their pros and cons, and illustrate examples of how they interact with the remainder of our budget. This will enable you to determine which guideline is most suitable for your circumstances. Welcome to Wealth Map, where I share my passion for personal growth with you. Whether you're a beginner or an expert, you'll find something useful and entertaining here. Subscribe and become part of the Wealth Map family. Let's be honest, this isn't something that's taught in schools. If these topics intrigue you, or if you're keen on improving your money management skills and achieving greater financial freedom, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified every time I post a video. How much house can I afford is a common question asked daily. Financial experts have established a few guidelines to assist with this query. The three primary guidelines are the 28-36 rule, the 30% solution, and the 25% method. Let's delve into each of these. The 28-36 rule is the first guideline often used to determine housing affordability. It suggests that no more than 28% of your gross income should be spent on your mortgage payments, including principal, interest, insurance, property taxes, PMI if applicable, and HOA and other related fees and dues if present. Additionally, it advises that no more than 36% of your gross income should be dedicated to your housing and all other debts. If you love this topic, you'll love this channel. Subscribe now and get notified every time we upload a new video. The advantage of the 28-36 rule is that it allows you to afford a relatively expensive house while considering other aspects of your financial situation, specifically non-housing related debts. Provided nothing disastrous occurs, individuals should be capable of making these payments without exceeding their budget. However, the potential downside of this rule compared to the others is, one potential drawback of the 28-36 rule is that it allocates the largest portion of your income towards liabilities out of all three rules. This means you'll have less money left over at the end of the month to put towards other goals, such as giving, paying off debts, investing for your future, or saving for a vacation. Let's illustrate this with an example. Suppose John and Jane are planning to buy a new home. They earn $72,000 a year, or $6,000 a month, which is around the average income in the US, and have the following debts. $5,000 on a credit card, costing them $100 a month in minimum payments. A car loan with a remaining balance of $10,000, requiring a minimum payment of $185 a month. And student loans amounting to $30,000 with a total minimum payment of $300 a month. Their total minimum monthly debt payments amount to $585, or about 9.75% of their gross income, slightly above the 8% recommended by this rule for non-housing debt. However, this flexibility is part of the advantage of the 28-36 rule. Based on these numbers, John and Jane would need to either pay off some of their debts before buying a new home or adjust the portion of their income allocated to housing costs. If they choose not to pay off any debts before buying the new home, they would need to spend no more than 26.25% of their gross income on housing so that their combined housing and debt expenses do not exceed 36% of their gross income. This would mean that the most they could afford to spend on a new home, including mortgage principal, interest, taxes, insurance, and any related fees, would be $1,575 a month, or $18,900 a year. The actual cost of the home would depend on several factors, including their interest rate, property taxes, and homeowners' insurance rates, the size of their down payment, and whether or not they have to pay for private mortgage insurance, PMI, among others. Assuming property taxes are about 1.5% of the home's value, homeowners insurance costs $100 a month. They've made a 20% down payment to avoid PMI. There are no HOA or other fees, and they received a 4% interest rate on the mortgage. John and Jane would be able to buy a home worth approximately $270,000 with a 30-year loan, or a $190,000 home with a 15-year loan under the 2836 rule. The next rule people often use to determine housing affordability is the 30% solution. This rule advises that no more than 30% of your gross income should be devoted to housing costs. The primary benefit of this rule is that it allows you to buy the most expensive house out of the three rules. If we use John and Jane's example again, they earn $6,000 a month, so under the 30% solution, they can allocate no more than $1,800 a month to housing. Assuming the same conditions as before, this would let them buy a $335,000 home with a 30-year loan, or a $235,000 home with a 15-year loan. One potential drawback of the 30% solution is that it doesn't explicitly account for how the rest of your income is distributed, unlike the 2836 rule. While it does recommend that no more than 20% of your take-home pay goes towards non-housing debts, it doesn't provide an adjustment mechanism for your housing costs if you have a large amount of debt. In a situation where your debts are higher than recommended, the 2836 rule would require you to reduce the portion of your budget going to housing to stay under the 36% ceiling. However, the 30% solution has no such adjustments. If you followed it strictly, you would still allocate 30% of your gross income towards housing and then figure out your debts separately, which could potentially lead to very tight budgets. If you're heavily in debt or aiming to retire early, it might not be wise to allocate 30% of your gross income towards housing costs if it can be avoided. Directing a large portion of your income towards housing could make it more difficult to pay down debt or save for early retirement. This brings us to the final rule of thumb, the 25% method. The 25% method is the most conservative of the three, suggesting that no more than 25% of your take-home pay should go towards your monthly mortgage payment. This rule assumes that you have a 15-year fixed-rate mortgage and includes principal, interest, property taxes, homeowners insurance, and any homeowners association fees. If John and Jane were to follow this rule, they would be looking at a maximum monthly mortgage payment of $1,500. Assuming the same interest rate and other costs as before, this would allow them to purchase a home worth about $215,000. The main advantage of the 25% rule is that it leaves more room in your budget for other financial goals and priorities, such as saving for retirement, saving for children's education, or paying down debt. It also provides a cushion for unexpected expenses or financial emergencies. However, the downside is that it may limit your home buying options, especially in high cost of living areas. Some people may find it difficult to find a suitable home within this budget. In the end, the rule of thumb you choose to follow will depend on your personal financial situation, your goals, and your comfort level with debt. It's always a good idea to speak with a financial advisor or mortgage professional to help make the best decision for your circumstances. That's a great summary of the 25% rule and its pros and cons. It's true that financial rules of thumb are not one-size-fits-all solutions, but they can provide a helpful starting point for making important financial decisions. Whether you're considering buying a house, investing for retirement, or just trying to manage your monthly budget, it's important to base your decisions on a thorough understanding of your own financial situation and goals. Don't forget to factor in the potential for unexpected expenses or changes in your income. It's also a good idea to seek professional advice if you're unsure about any aspect of your financial planning. A financial advisor can help you understand the implications of different strategies and make the best decisions for your circumstances. In the end, the most important thing is to live within your means and make smart financial decisions that will help you achieve your goals. Whether you choose to follow the 25% rule or another rule of thumb, the key is to make sure that your housing costs are affordable and sustainable in the long term. Thanks for watching this video from Wealth Map, the channel that helps you build your wealth from scratch. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. If you did, please show your support by subscribing to the channel and sharing it with your friends. It really means a lot to me, and it helps me keep making more awesome content for you. And remember, it's never too late to start planning for your financial future. So if you haven't already, start today.